Boom. Welcome,
Bing.
welcome to another Insiders Elite. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us while you're vacationing. Really appreciate you doing that. Like I say, consistency is key. So we're here to deliver another one, and that's what makes an unstoppable, unshakable business. Jamie.
Hey, so good to be here. And yes, on vacation, but wouldn't miss it for the world. Now, I do have to admit, coming up about 2/3 of the way through September, there will be one that I'm missing, but I'm missing it for a really good reason. I'm going to be at Funnel Hacking Live. Now, I won't be there in person, but I'll be there virtually. I'm attending for the 3-4 days, and man, I'm juiced about it. I'm going to learn a ton of stuff, going to be able to take back a bunch of knowledge, just an absolute bunch of knowledge to share out here. We're definitely going to have to jump on the show after that one and do a massive recap of that one. But today, right, what's it all about? What am I doing? I'm making the most of the situation. Here I am. I'm on vacation. I'm loving every minute of it. And I'm still sharing that knowledge out here. What are we doing? We're truly making the most out of every situation. Let's face it. We've got some interesting situation going on right now in the world. I mean, it's getting a little bit crazy out there, wouldn't you say, Mick?
Yeah, it is. It's getting crazy all over the place, man. Wow, things are getting hectic all over. You know, COVID 2.0, Delta, like it's more lockdowns, more restrictions, changes. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. And what does that do to a person, right? When all we can see, I mean, look, we're coming up on 2 years now. Seriously, we're coming up on damn near 2 years of this COVID thing. What's going through most people's minds, right? What do you think? What do you think one of the common questions is that's going through people's minds?
Oh, again, how do I do it? How can I face it again? Or more of this, you know, how can I survive another round of this? How can I can't last 6 months of this? This is the kind of things that I'm hearing from people.
Absolutely. Is this shit ever going to end?
Yeah.
Right? That's really what's going on. But here's the thing, right? We get that it's tough out there. We're not saying it's easy. We're not saying it's just like baking a cake or something like that. We get that it's hard. I mean, some of this new vaccine passport and all these sort of things going into place and all that, I get it. It's almost creating a divide in the world right now, right? We're not here to talk about that, though. We're not here to take a stand on either side of the whole vaccine thing or anything. What we are here to share, though, today is really the number one tool that you could use in your business to radically change it and keep getting that success. So it starts out with number one, making a difference by making the most out of any single circumstance.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
When I say that, when I say making the most out of it, what comes to mind? I know something's going to come to mind for you, Mick. When I say, how do we make the most of it? What is it that comes to mind for you?
Well, straight away, it's the way you frame what's going on. How do you make the most of any, something terrible could happen. And one of the things that I always look at is if this is the worst, if I look back in 12 months and say, this is the best thing that ever happened to me, what could it look like? Because it straight away starts you thinking about an opportunity out of the situation. And I know Jamie's the opportunity guy, and he used to quiz me all the time, what's the opportunity in this? No matter how shitty a state I was in, he would say, what's the opportunity in this? I'm like, there's no freaking opportunity. Stop asking me stupid questions. But there was always an opportunity, always. And I can put my hand on my heart and say, no matter what state you're in, and sometimes I know it's really challenging when you're in a really down place or things are really tough and you're like, you can't see the forest for the trees. But there is always opportunity. So asking yourself those questions, or how can I learn something from this, or what's next, or just opportunity type questions will really change the game in making the most of any circumstance.
Yeah. Look, it's really absolutely about building that mental toughness. This is a muscle up here, right? This is a great big muscle, and we have to train it. We absolutely have to. We must become the masters of that mindset. We must recognize that the question of, oh God, why is everything happening to me? Why is all this stuff going wrong? Versus, hey, what's the opportunity here? When we can recognize, please hear this, that winter is coming. Hell, maybe winter's here, right? Maybe winter's not coming. Maybe winter's here right now. How can we succeed? What actions can I take right now? They're going to create massive success for myself. Just listen to those questions. Really seriously get into those questions. Listen to it. Let it resonate through you. And what happens? We start looking for those opportunities. We start looking for those actions, those things, those opportunities that are right there in the moment. Because guess what? What you ask this thing, whenever we ask this great big piece of gray matter in between our ears, what's it going to do, Mick?
It answers it every single time.
Imagine that.
It finds the
question,
answer.
Get an answer. Yeah.
So ask, this is something that lots of people say. Tony Robbins is heaps of people say it. Ask better questions, you'll get better answers. The questions you ask is the quality of your life. If you ask your brain questions to find things wrong, guess what? It will find things wrong. And that's all you'll focus on. If you ask it questions on what opportunities are out there, how could we do something better about this? How can we, like some opportunity questions, it will find the answers, and that's what you'll focus on, and that's what you'll get more of. You mentioned mindset there, Jamie. And then we've got to train our mind. And I know when you're in the situation and you're saying, yeah, well, it's easy for you to say you don't have whatever. What are some tips and tricks you can use to practice that? And how many times did you have to practice looking for opportunities before it really started to sink in?
Golden question. Please, everyone, take note of this. Please, everyone, take note of this. Because guess what? It didn't happen the first time. It didn't happen the second time. Shit, it didn't happen the 100th time. This is something that I have to practice all the time. It's a continuous, ongoing practice that will happen till the day I die. Now, why do I say that? Because guess what? A lot of people, I've seen it. Man, I've coached thousands of people all around the world. What have I seen? You know what? Someone tries, here's those air quotes, tries to do this, and they don't get it right the first time. They don't get it right the second time. And all of a sudden, they start to see it as a great big failure. Well, this stuff doesn't work, right? Here's the thing. It takes repetition. It takes practice. What's mastery? Mastery is 10,000. I probably haven't asked myself, hey, what's the opportunity here 10,000 times yet? I don't even know if I'm the master of that at this point. But I'll tell you what, each and every time I do it, each and every time I consciously make the choice to ask myself that better question, right? Here's the thing too. The answer, it doesn't always come right away. Sometimes, like Mick was saying there, he's like, screw off, Jamie. There's no opportunity here right now. I've been in that place, right? When something goes bad, when something in the moment, all of a sudden your lower, your protective brain kicks in. There's no possible way to get out of this. But when you open up the door by asking the right questions to finding the solution, finding the opportunity, guess what? You end up finding it. Doesn't happen the first time, maybe not the second time, maybe not the 100th time, but this is a key that we have to keep doing this over and over and over. This is resiliency, folks. This is the power of repetition, that when you do it over and over and over, you will achieve those results. No one said this was going to be easy. Okay. But if it could be easy, how much fun would you have doing it? Let's think about that question for a moment.
And I absolutely love that question, Jamie. And I'm going to say I've been in even as recently as this year, ask myself, it's taken me 6 months, 6 hours or a few days of going, what are we going to do here? And then like, what's the opportunity here? And forget to practice that. And then what's the opportunity here? And it might percolate for a day or two, and then that's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it's not one opportunity, it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 opportunities that you can see in it. It takes practice. And I've been doing it for 3 years, and it still sometimes takes a couple of days to find the opportunity to get things percolating, to change that mindset. And that's okay. What's important is that you do it, and you practice, and you practice, and you practice, because it works every time.
Yeah.
It doesn't work 50% of the time. It works every time.
Exactly. Look at what Chris shared with us here. Chris just gave us an awesome comment here, right? Most people now and from this point are so stuck on instant gratification, right? Listen to that point, right? It's only going to get worse. People do give up too easy. People always want that easy button. One of the worst things, Staples here, one of the worst things they could have done. Now, that was easy. Guess what? This stuff isn't easy. But the more you practice it, the more you get excited about doing. Look at me. I'm getting all excited right now. I'm getting all stoked up right now. Because this stuff works. This stuff will change your life, right? This stuff will really, really, really absolutely change your life. I know that. I've seen it. I've seen it over and over and over. The key here is that it is that repetition. It might not happen on the first day, second day, third day, the 20th day. But the more you ask it, the more you do it, you get to become the master of your mindset. You get to turn things around in a really, really, really big way. Chris, thank you for sharing that. That's just awesome.
Yeah, shout out, Chris. That was awesome. And one of the tips and tricks that we haven't mentioned yet, but we've asked questions, and that's curiosity. Because when you shift from that negativity, that why me, this is, the weight of the world is on my shoulders, one of the best ways to shift, instead of flipping from that to straight away, there's opportunities everywhere and I'm so positive and the world's going to be a perfect place, it's curiosity. Because it's a step in the right direction, but it starts the momentum in the right way. And being curious about what's happening. Well, what's behind all of this? What's the best thing that can happen right now?
Stop right there. Stop right there, because what do most people ask? What's the worst thing that can happen? How many times have we heard that? How many times have we heard that saying, what's the worst thing that can happen? Right? Thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe. But what happens when we just change it? What Mick just said, please, please, please. If you're taking notes, oh my gosh, please write this one down because that was critical. What's the best thing that can happen? Seriously.
We could change the world, mate. We get 1 million viewers every week watching our show, and we change the world.
Wow. Wow. One question. Massive, absolute, complete, massive change and massive results right there. That one's huge, Mick. Thank you for sharing that one. That one's huge. Right. One of my personal favorites. Go ahead. Go. I was going to say, one of my personal favorites, right? We've mentioned a couple times already. What's the opportunity here right now? Now just listen to that question for just a moment. Again, if you're writing things down, please write that one down as well. What's the opportunity right now, right here in this moment right now? Your brain is listening. Your brain wants to, and see, this thing's going to answer. It can't help itself. Its basic programming, its ultimate programming is to answer everything that's asked. So when we ask, hey, you know what? What's the opportunity right here, right now in this moment? Guess what your brain does? It goes looking for the opportunity. It literally does, because it has to give you an answer. It has no choice. It has to give you an answer. So feed it with better questions. Not, why does this shit keep happening to me? Why is this always so wrong? Instead of doing that, ask a better question. You're going to get a radically better answer that's completely going to turn things around for you.
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. And you know what was funny? You asked that question right there, and my brain started thinking of opportunities right now. Right now, what's my opportunity right now? I was like, that's how powerful this is. I'm in the middle of delivering a show, and my brain's thinking about opportunities because Jamie just asked the question. I'm like, oh, what is the opportunity right now? Yeah,
amazing, right? Seriously. That's it, right? Another question, right? How can this challenge, right, this perceived challenge that we're experiencing, how can it actually serve us in the long run? Interesting. How can it serve us in the long run? A great question.
And take note of the language Jamie used in that question. It wasn't what's this problem or what's this, it's challenge. Because it's when we see a challenge, challenges can be overcome. Problems or issues or whatever other language don't have that same trigger mentally. The word challenge means, oh, that's a challenge. Yes, let's take that on. Whereas problem, oh, look at this problem. The problems have a negative connotation, whereas challenges and excitement or moving forward, because we need to overcome challenges to be successful. And note that language. So ask yourself with that same way, how could this challenge that I'm facing right now? And stop calling it whatever else you use and start using the word challenge to replace it. And you'll find that you will think about these challenges differently that pop up in business. Because let's face it, there's always challenges in business. At different levels of business, there's different challenges, and they're normal, but challenges are there to be overcome.
Absolutely. And who doesn't like a challenge? I mean, what are we seeing all the time? I mean, you and I, Mick, we're both connected to so many different coaches and, people like that out there. What are they always doing? It's my 5-day challenge. It's my 2-day. Everyone's running some sort of challenge. Why? Because people like to be challenged. People enjoy to be challenged. When we see these obstacles, if we want to call them that, as challenges, guess what? I'm going to make this thing happen. I'm going to find a way. Why? Because success is my only option.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at that, like challenges, how can I come up on top right now and take advantage of this here right now? More questions about the challenge and how you can overcome them, and just get your brain thinking about solutions and opportunities using curiosity, because what you focus on is what you get. So questions that focus on positivity, opportunity, they will be the biggest mindset shift for you in any stressful situation, in any situation like in business when things are, I suppose, challenging you.
Completely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. That brings us really into point number 2, which is utilizing that problem solving to boost your productivity. And how do we use problem solving? Brainstorming. You've got a team. Now, a lot of people say, but Jamie, I'm a solopreneur. I'm by myself. Are you really? We've talked about this in previous episodes and previous shows and all that, where, there's people that you can reach out to, right? There's people that you have on your team that you might not even be recognizing that are on your team. Get an outside perspective. Jump into brainstorming. Sure, you as yourself, if you see yourself as that solopreneur, it's like, okay, we're going into wave 20 or 30. I don't even know what wave we're in anymore. I've lost count. But seriously, like, it's wave after wave after wave. If it's just yourself, right, you're not going to get that full outside perspective. What does it take? It takes someone from outside of your immediate sphere, someone who can see the forest, not just the trees, someone who can give you that extra perspective. And from that place, open up the window of possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Brainstorming, bringing people in from the outside is one of the most powerful tools, and something that's worked really effective when you have a workflow process challenge and you want to solve it, is getting a client involved, because they will see it from their perspective and they might add that 1% or that idea that changes the way you do business for them, revolutionizes the way you work for clients. So don't be afraid to include a key client and say, hey, we're having a workflow challenge. We want to streamline, improve, etc. I'd love your input on how we solve that problem. Are you available for a half an hour brainstorming session? Oh, imagine the difference that would make with your relationship with that client if you want them actively involved in the success of your business. That is hugely powerful. And it's extremely effective.
And the rapport you're going to create, the connection that you're going to create, everything like that. It's like, wow, right? This doesn't put you in a supplicant position or anything like that. What this is actually doing is an awesome opportunity for you to actually gain that rapport, build that trust even more with your client. Because let's face it, right? We're not just coaching people or working with people or mentoring or training people that are doing the exact same thing as us. Right. A lot of people say, Jimmy, how can you train and mentor people in real estate? You're not a real estate agent. Hell, you've never done anything with real estate. Well, the key is that there's some important things. And what do I help people do? I help people see what they can't. That's a key part of it. Your clients, your friends, your family. There's so many people in your life that can see what you can't. Right. Now, before we get too far off here, Chris has given us another question here. He says, how do you pick the opportunity to prioritize? My mind is always racing. Welcome to the ADHD club, Chris. Hey, glad to have you here, brother. Glad to have you here. Seriously, though, that's a really valid question, right? When the mind's always going, it's like, well, this opportunity, that opportunity, that opportunity. What would happen if you picked one and really gave it a go? And then you picked another one. Who says that they have to be in any particular order? Now, this sounds a little bit like the whole procrastination idea kind of kicking in. Well, I could choose this one, but what if? I could choose this one, but what if? What if the first opportunity that came along, the one that you chose, was actually the one you needed right there in the moment?
Absolutely, Jamie. One little thing that I do when I've got 6, 8, 10 opportunities, because I don't have ADHD, but I'm always looking for opportunities. And the more you look for them, the more they arrive. Like, what do? I've got multiple opportunities. Pick the low-hanging fruit that you can get moving. Because if you get the biggest, like the biggest thing that stops procrastination is taking action, take a step, start moving. So pick the opportunity that you can do right now and start. Because there might be an opportunity you think, man, that's going to take me a year to implement. Might be the best opportunity, could change the way you do business, double your income, whatever. But that's going to take you a year to implement, but there's an opportunity there that would take you a week to implement, and that is also amazing. That can get the momentum moving straight away. Pick that one, get moving, get some action, start doing things, then start working on the other ones, because once you build that momentum on these opportunities, you'll it'll overcome that procrastination, and then you'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one, and you'll keep implementing opportunities. But if you sit there and decide and discuss and get stuck in the procrastination loop, the biggest way to overcome that is to just start.
Absolutely.
That you can do now.
Exactly. 3 real quick things here. Least amount of effort, least amount of time, and least amount of cost. If you want to go and assess, if you want to really find that low-hanging fruit that's ready, what is going to take me the least amount of time to do? It's going to maybe take me the least amount of effort, and it's not going to cost a whole fortune that can produce a result that moves you towards your ultimate outcome. 3 great questions that can really give you that direction as to where to go, and how to get there quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Jamie mentioned it before, working with his clients, he helps people see what they can't. Working with your team, Napoleon Hill talks about it, the law of success. Synergy is the essence of creative leadership. So just having a team around you, having someone there that can help you brainstorm, that can see the things you can't, creating those synergy, that's what creates success. And this has been around hundreds of years. When did Napoleon Hill write that book?
Oh God, early 1900s, right?
Yeah. So this stuff isn't new.
No.
It's the team getting people in and around. Have a coach that's there, can see things you can't. Involve them in your brainstorming sessions when you have a challenge to overcome. Include your team in there. Like these are the things these are fundamental laws of success that have been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah, no question whatsoever. I mean, Think and Grow Rich and the Laws of Success written back like 1914, something like that, like way, like over 100 years old, 1914. But check this out. What was Napoleon talking about back then? The idea of the master mind. Now, notice how I said it. It's not just mastermind. I mean, we've got so many people, they want to do a mastermind, this and that. Where did it all come from, though? Ultimately, Napoleon Hill. What's the idea behind the mastermind? Is that the power of each of those minds, each of those unique individuals coming together can create that mastermind. Now, even if you don't have people, you can step in. He gets into it. It was kind of an interesting little discussion he had on it, but he was bringing all sorts of people into his mastermind. He would literally, and some people might say this is maybe multiple personality disorder. I don't think it was, because he's a pretty smart dude. He would literally get into the mindset of these different characters. Right, he would actually see these people in his mind. Some people were still around. Some people, had died. He of course, he knew Thomas Edison back there, Henry Ford. He had direct connection with all these people. So even if they weren't there, he would literally picture these people there, how they would talk, how they would respond, what they would share. It was him stepping out of his own personality to really, truly create that mastermind within his own mind. That was absolutely amazing, right? That really stuck to me. And that's over 100-year-old idea. Right? This is not something that's new.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely not something that's new, but it's extremely powerful. And that's what they talk about, the law of success, the synergy. There's in a lot of university books, they talk about groupthink, which is the power of a mastermind, the power of a group. The group's mind is more powerful than an individual, which is same philosophy. And that's what they're talking about. Get people together, because the power of that collective mind is not just 10 times what's there. If there's 10 people, it's exponentially more powerful. Yeah.
And poor Chris, he's worried that he's taking over our live here. But you know what, brother? We love the interaction. Look at this comment, right? He says that letting people see what they can't. That's what a lot of people need. Many people don't really see their value because of the low self-esteem, right? Wouldn't that be amazing superpower, just to be able to share with people? To have them see what they can't. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Now, guess what? Check this out. I'm going to ask you this question, Mick. What do you think it is in most people, in the majority of people, that they're not able to take on this type of feedback? What do you think's going on there?
Well, I'm going to straight away say is your ego.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put my hand up. I've had my ego's copped a beating, and then sometimes it's there to protect you. That's the whole purpose of your ego. It's there. It's in your lower croc brain. We've heard this talk about a few times, and it's there to protect you. Its sole purpose is to protect you, whether that's emotionally, physically, the fight or flight response, your ego. When somebody says something that hurts you, it might hurt your feelings. You're like, no, well, that's not true. No way. Straight away, it's protective and like, hey, that's not. but it doesn't allow you to take that on board. It might not be true, but it might have an element of truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you look at the opportunity and say, okay, sweet, I'll take that on board. And you go, well, what can I learn from that comment? What is there an element of truth in that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Straight away, instead of letting your ego take control, you take control of your ego and go, thank you, ego, for protecting me. But is there an element of truth in that? Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that in the moment in front of the person who's just giving you this very confronting feedback that hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you go away, you can sit and go, well, is that what element of what's the truth in that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, I suppose I can see how that's perceived. And maybe it was the way this was. Then you can think about some of the truths and go, what can I learn from those truths?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you need to take control of your ego and not let your ego control the situation.
Look, that's huge. That's huge. And I will absolutely stick my hand up. I've been that guy that was a dick, right? I'll totally put my hand up and say that, because I wasn't listening. I was letting that ego go ahead, get the better of me. And guess what? I missed out on an amazing opportunity. I really did. Instead of letting that ego get in the way, what could I have done? Number one, change what's going on up here. Right? I wonder what else I could do with this. I wonder what else this could mean. I wonder. The moment I get into that place where I am curious, right? We talked about curiosity already, but the moment I set myself into that place of curiosity, guess what? There is no ego. Just like when we're in a state of gratitude, anger doesn't exist with gratitude. Go, try. I would challenge anyone right now, go ahead and be in a true, absolute place of gratitude and then feel the anger at the same time. You can't. It's impossible. Our brains don't work that way. Same thing. When we fully embrace the spirit of curiosity, when we let go of the ego, because guess what? There's 10 million people out there. Shit, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Right? I got to believe there's at least 10 million people that know probably 1,000 times more than Mick and I do. Does that hurt our egos? Oh, hell no. Right? Because this isn't about ego. This is about getting curious. This is about aligning ourselves with these amazing people, using that power of that mastermind to really learn, to grow, to expand beyond what we are presently, so that we can truly not just survive, but thrive in the face of adversity. We've got some adversity happening right now. No question about it whatsoever. Guess what we want to do? We want to thrive in that. We want to find that opportunity, because when we've got that turned on, right? I'm not in the place of, oh my God, woe is me, the world is ending and all that. No, I'm looking for the opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And that takes us on to our third point. You talked about people that know more, and that doesn't hurt your ego. For me, that's that curiosity. Well, what can I learn from some of them? Where are they? What am I missing? Having that culture of learning in your business, not just with yourself, but in your business, having your team want to learn more, creating a culture of learning. There's so much knowledge and programs and training at our fingertips in the world. It's so easy to become complacent and not expand your knowledge, or, oh, that's easy, I can just look it up if I need to. But it's also very easy for us to feel, for our team to feel the same way. So we need to create that culture that they're always trying to learn. They're trying to take on new things, whether it's technical skills, whether it's soft skills, whether it's something, but creating a culture of learning so that they're always moving forward with their knowledge. That will help with the positivity and the opportunities. And because the more they learn, the more they know, the more they can see opportunities in the world, and with people and with the team and with the business and with your clients. And that's what needs to happen, because once you create this attitude, it creates an environment where people have new ideas and they are more open to implementing change when you have it. So it's really, really powerful. Create that culture of learning.
Yeah, no question about it whatsoever. Right? What are you doing when you're creating a culture of learning? You're showing your people that you give a shit. Right? If I'm putting my people, my teams, and everything through training, I'm giving them the resources, I'm helping them become more resourceful, I'm helping them learn something. Guess what? I'm investing into them. I'm truly investing into them. Do you think that's worth something? I don't think it's worth something. I know it's worth everything. Those of you who are maybe having a hard time attracting the right staff, when's the last time you actually put a training budget together or something like that? When's the last time you actually doubled down and invested in your team so that they could grow, so that they could expand beyond? Now, I don't know about you, right? And I'm sure not everyone's like us, Mick, but when I see an opportunity, here, I'll give you an example. My stepson, Right now, he's a young guy. He's 19 now, just turned 19, just got his first job. He's going to work at the bank and all that. And one of the things, because he could be selective with respect to where he went to work, right? He got his Securities Commission course, Canadian Securities Commission, and all that. So he could be selective with respect to where he could work. What was he looking for? He was looking for a company that would invest back into him through training through this. Now, the position he took, it didn't necessarily have the biggest, highest, onboarding rate or anything like that. The wage wasn't bad, but it was all the extra benefits. Why? Because let's think about it. If you're going to invest into that person, if you want that person, right, you're going to invest into them through training, through opportunities, you're also going to want them to stick around. By putting that time, that effort, you're going to have those people. You're going to, first of all, attract them. And secondly, by putting on that training, by making the training available, you're showing that you really, truly care about them and you want them for the long run, right? Nothing's worse than getting someone on, and I've been there myself many times. You get into a company or something like that. There's no formal training. It's like, yeah, just go do this, right? Whatever it is. There's no onboarding. There's no nothing like that. There's no opportunity for those people to expand their knowledge or anything. Well, I guess I can't really be that valuable. I guess I can't really be that important.
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. And from the employee's perspective, if they want to invest into me, they must really want me to be here. If they're going to spend, and from a trade perspective, if I was to tell a building trade, a trade business to say, hey, you're going to need to spend a week with this guy just doing onboarding training. Well, I can't afford that. He needs to be out making money.
No.
The long-term benefits that you will get out of that for your business will far outweigh any short-term costs.
Yes.
You must have an onboarding process that trains, and it straight away sends the right message that I care about you and I want you. This is what's important to me, and I care about you, and I want you to be successful in my business. And they're like, wow, this guy really cares. That's more valuable than any wage increase or bonus, or because it attracts the right type of person to your business. And it sets them up to succeed in your business because they know what they need to do to be successful in your company.
Yep. Look, Mick, you and I have both seen this too. One of the first things to go when we're getting into situations like this, where there's the pandemic, this, that, all that sort of stuff, one of the first things to go is those training programs. Oh, we got to cut costs. But here's the thing. What are you actually doing? You're actually hurting yourself. Look, I get it. We have to work within a certain budget. Things are tough. I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I get it. Trust me. I'm a business owner. Mick, you're a business owner. But at the same time, if we've scheduled and budgeted our money to the best of our ability, make sure that you've got something going towards training. Don't make it the first thing to go, right? If it absolutely has to go, make it one of the last things to go, because training, that's an investment, not just in your people, that's an investment in your company. That's an investment in your future.
Absolutely. And you talk about it, you can have a culture of learning, you can have training budgets, but you can do so much for free in the world.
Yeah.
So much for very little money. I know a bloke who's offering a course for $18. He normally offers it for $200. You could buy that course for $18 and share it with your team. Yeah. So, and it's brilliant. I've done the course. It is fantastic. It's worth $500 or more. But just because you're trying to cut costs, don't cut the training. Yes, look at review and where can I save money in this instead of spending $1,000 a month on training. Hey, we are going to cut costs. We're not going to cut the training, but we need to find alternative ways to get the training that meets our $200 budget. I've cut the budget, but I still want to do my 10 hours a month of training per employee or whatever it is you do. It's critical for your business, because instead of saying I'm cutting training, well, we need to be better with our money and our training budget, because we still want to achieve our training outcomes. We just want to do it with less money for the time being, because realistically, the economy is closing down and my business doesn't have the income to support $1,000 a month worth of training, but I still want the training. And guess what? When you ask those questions, you'll find answers. There is so much available for free right now in the world that there's no excuse not to be offering value to your team. Yeah,
that's a huge one, right? Go find it. Get into that that mindset of resourcefulness. Right. All I have to do is just go find that opportunity that's really going to serve my people. It's going to serve my team, and ultimately serve my business. Put a ton of money back into my business, because I'll tell you what, that's what it's going to do. Right now, when it comes to learning, there's from mild to wild. Right. I've been in big corporations. I worked for the world's largest equipment dealership. largest equipment dealership in the world. We had a great big LMS, learning management system, all these sort of things. I'm not saying you've got to run out and do that, because that can be cost prohibitive. But what if you did get that fella's course that was $18? You put him through that. You learned how to set some goals. You learned how to do those things. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be a very, very, very well spent time? I know it is, right? I absolutely, completely know it is. Investing back into your people through learning, through giving them the skills to be able to excel, no matter if it's, we're making rain, we're making it rain because the economy is just amazing, or we're in times of struggle. When you're investing into me as an employee, you're putting that money back into me. You're showing me that you care. And guess what? I'm going to give you my loyalty right back. That's a big one.
And Jamie, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, because I hear this so much. Yep. Yeah, but we invest all this training into our team members and then they leave.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Guess what? Everyone's going to leave. But if you're focused on people leaving, if that's your big focus of everyone leaving, you've already lost. Right? What happens if they stay? Right? Listen to that. That was basically a what if question. Now, what if they leave? What if I invest all this money, this time and everything into them and they leave? What if they stay? Right? What if you, by absolutely just going out and making this small little difference, and trust me, it really is a small difference. It's a small thing. Investing in training, you can do it so easily. By doing this small little act, you can actually create some of those people, those raving fans. Not just external raving fans. We're talking internal raving fans here. Think Google, right? Who wants to leave Google? Well, for the most part, no one does, right? They really don't. Why? Because they've got such a great company culture. We're not going to get into company culture here. This is about training. But yeah, so what? You know what? People are going to leave. People are going to come. People are going to leave. This is a fact of life. Get over it, right? Deal with that. Here's the thing, though. Investing into those people, taking the time to put that money back into them, I promise you, like 80%, 80 to 86% of the time, those people, that money that you invest, it will come back double, if not triple. This is no joke. I've seen it way too many times not to believe it.
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. And on top of that, when you decide to do these things and you're looking at weighing up options, whether you should do something, one of the things that I always do is it good for me? Well, yeah, this guy's more skilled. Is it good for them? Yeah, they get more skills and tools and training and they become better in career progression. Is it good for the company? Absolutely it is. They got higher skilled employees. Is it good for the country, the world, the economy, for the greater good, the environment? Well, absolutely it is. They got more skills they can take and grow and learn. So it ticks all the boxes. Mm-hmm. It's the right thing to do. And you're doing the training because it's the right thing to do, not as a side benefit. It increases employee retention. Mm-hmm. That's not the purpose of it. You're doing the training because it's good for the business and good for them and good for everyone.
Yep.
And as a side benefit, people stay longer, they're more loyal. And if that's the outcome, is you're doing it because it's the right thing and it's good for the business and good for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that's not a different way to look at it, rather than what if they leave and, well, you do it because it's good. And then if people leave, well, so be it. Still a good decision because it was good for everybody. Good for them, good for the company, good. And it's good for the world. So
yeah,
something really powerful to look at.
That's absolutely huge. That's absolutely huge. Now, see, we're getting close to the end of our time here, but we've still got another very, very, very important point that we want to touch on here. So we might run a little bit longer today, but, forgive us if we do, because this point really brings it all together. We've given a few really key strategies, right? Number one, changing that mindset, getting into that place where you're seeing the opportunity, investing in some training, really, truly taking care of your people, getting the bigger group think, that mastermind in place. But how do we actually change that mindset? What does it take? What can I do? Sure, you've given us some questions. You've told us to just ask the right questions. And it's just magically going to happen like fairy dust. But guess what? This is truly about practice. So we're going to share with you 3 key things. Please, again, if you're taking notes, take notes on this. Right? This has worked for millions, tens of millions of people across the globe. A lot of people are doing this and they're probably not even recognizing that they are. We're going to break it down for you right here, right now. We're going to give you the exact strategy, right? Thousands and thousands of people have paid me thousands and thousands of dollars to learn this. And we're going to go ahead and give it to you for free right here, right now. Mick, do you want to take it away? You want to take the first piece of it?
Absolutely. Like when we're in the moment, when we're super stressed, things that you got the weight of the world on your shoulders, you You got all those negative things running through your head. You're like, oh, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? Look, it's it's just all too much. The number one thing you got to do is just relax and breathe. And now I know you're probably saying, really, Mick, just relax and breathe. But I challenge you right now, try it. Try it right now. Just go. You'll feel your shoulders relax. You'll feel your mind clear. And just focus on your breathing for 10 cycles, 20 cycles. What that does, your brain will focus on nothing else but your breathing. Count in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 4. Count out 1, 2, 3, 4. Do it for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
What happens is your brain stops.
Yep.
And you breathe, gives you oxygen, makes your head,
yep.
makes your brain clearer. Lots of chemical things happen in the background, and this is not a brain chemical show, so I won't go into the detail, but amazing things happen inside your body when you do that.
Yep.
There's a heap of different ones. There's 666 box breathing. There's a whole different breathing techniques. It doesn't matter which one you do. It's irrelevant. It is that you relax and you breathe.
Yeah.
It is the most powerful tool to overcome stress, anxiety. When you're in that place of just, I can't see a way through, is to just stop and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. Just breathing. What are you doing? You're changing your physiology. You're changing your posture, right? Again, we're not the scientists. We're not the doctors or anything like that. But when you're all stressed out, you're all, verklempt and all that, everything's getting sucked in. You're reducing the amount of air that you're actually able to bring into your lungs because you're doing one of these. Just open up your chest, relax, get that air in there. Stop starving your brain. When you starve your brain of oxygen, you make stupid decisions. Stop doing that shit. Really seriously, stop doing that stuff. Give yourself an opportunity to breathe so that you can feed your mind, so that you can feed your brain with exactly what it needs. If you're sitting there, you're in, one of these, stand up, get up, go shake your ass, go do something, go for a quick little walk. Get something out there that changes the position that you're in, because what you're actually doing when you're maintaining that one position over and over and over, you're actually anchoring that state in, right? All the time. Why do we know this is like the universal stress state, right? Because we've seen it over and over. It's why I got no hair up here. See, hair's all gone. It's because I do this too much, right? I'm doing it. Seriously though, right? It's a universal stress position. What do we want to do? We want to change that position. We want to change that up big time. Stand up, go for a walk, step up, do something different, change the physiology, change your life, right? Number one, it can be as easy as breathing. So you can't get out. What do I have to do? Just that alone, it changed how I felt right there in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that brings us on to the next point. And we could talk about these things. It's almost a whole show on these strategies. Yeah. And we may even do that in the future, and because it's so powerful and people need to get this. But the next step is what you focus on, you feel more of.
Man.
And who here, and I can put my hand up, who here has been in a stress state and you focus on all the problems in the world, and guess what you see and feel? All the problems in the world. More
all
and more.
The problems.
And it piles on and piles on and piles on and piles on. What you focus on becomes important and builds in your mind. So that's where we need to focus on what the opportunity is. That's where we can use these curiosity questions.
Yeah.
Look for a different perspective. Focus on the solution instead of the problem.
Yeah.
The problem. Yeah. It's not going away. It's not ignoring the problem or the challenge or whatever it is that's in your business right now that's causing you to feel stress and anxiety, but it's the solution that you need to focus on, because what you focus on, you feel more of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's big. That's absolutely big. I mean, this brings to mind here. Again, I watched the show Lucifer on Netflix and all that. And one of the things he always asks is like, tell me, what is it that you truly desire? Or what's he doing? He's getting you to focus on what it is you want. Now he's using it in a different context and all that. But isn't that a great question? Right? Is this pain, is this grief, is all this crap that I'm feeling right now, is that what I truly desire? Hell no, it's not. Guess what? Go focus on what you want. Get really serious and get that clear in your mind. Go see the outcome you want. Brain can't tell the difference. When you vividly imagine and see exactly what it is you want, seeing it as though it's already done, you will go on to create that. This is impactful. This is next level stuff. Stop focusing on what you don't want. Stop focusing on the problem. Instead, turn on that mindset of curiosity. Get really curious about it. Go look for where those opportunities are, because there's lots. There's lots. Go find those opportunities. Literally change your life, change everything about it. So that's definitely point number 2.
And I'll share a little story about focus and about that exact same thing before we move on to the third point. So when I was young, I want to live on some acreage property, shed and house and pool and, some fruit trees down the back and all that. And so I had this picture in my head, right? And I've had it in there for 15 years. So I was doing some personal development seminar. I can't particularly remember which one because it's irrelevant. And in that, I realized I'd actually created that picture in my current house, but on a 1/4 acre block.
Wow.
That's what you picture it, you vividly see it. I can see it in my head, green grass, the whole thing. And I walk out and look around. It's like, oh shit, this is the house I just built.
Yeah.
So over the last 10 years, I've been building that without even realizing it's just the land size that's different. That's the power of focusing on. Your brain will create what you vividly focus on. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Big time. Focus what you want. Simple. Instead of focusing on what isn't going wrong, focusing on all the things that are causing you challenge, try it. As much as I don't like the word try, go ahead and put it into motion. See what it is you want, not what you don't, and notice what changes. Literally, the biochemistry in your brain and everything changes, right? Again, we're not doctors or anything like that. We're not going to talk about that, but literally your entire life changes when you get really clear and focus on what you want over what you don't. Makes all the difference. Point number 3, language. God, this is always so hard. Why can I never get it right? Why is this such a challenge? Why is this an insurmountable mountain that I can never overcome? What kind of life am I going to live if those are the questions and that's the language that I'm using, Mick?
Because that's what you'll get.
Yeah.
Your language targets your focus. And we just said what you focus on is what you get. The language is an important part of where you're going or what you want to see. Like we talked before about problem or challenge. If you see it as a problem, problems are there. We all know about problems. They're painful and they're there and they're annoying and they have that, but challenges are there to be overcome.
Yeah.
Simple language changes. If you tell yourself, I'm really stressed out right now, guess what? You're going to be really stressed out right now.
Yep.
When people ask me, do you get stressed out? I'm like, no. Like, what do you mean you don't get stressed out? I don't, because I relax and I breathe and I face the same challenges that you do. I ran a business, 10, 8 figures, whatever it is, I don't know, 8 figures, whatever. Business, every day dealing with money, people, challenges, same challenges everyone else is. Someone's pulling their hair out, drinking every night, same challenges. But why don't you get stressed out? Because I don't let myself. I don't get stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
The language that I'm using, I'm telling myself that I don't get stressed out so that I don't. If I say, I was so stressed on Thursdays, guess what happens every Thursday? You feel stressed. I always get stressed at the end of the month because it's crazy busy. Guess what happens at the end of every month?
Yeah.
It comes true.
Yeah. Great story on this in David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. He talks about this, and when he was going through Navy SEAL training, they would always say that, you know what, on about your 3rd day, it's really going to set in. The pain, the suffering, this and that. What are they doing? They're actually giving you some language patterns that says, okay, on the 3rd day, you're going to go ahead and you're going to feel all those challenges. Now, he went through BUDS a couple times, right? He went through it a couple times. He had some challenges and stuff like that. And he figured this out. I think it was by his 2nd time, 3rd time that he went through BUDS. He figured it out and said, hey, you know what? These guys are just actually fucking with our minds. These guys are actually implanting that with those words. What if I chose not to believe it? What if instead I said, you know what? On that 3rd day is actually when I'm just stepping into my stride. What if on that 3rd day is when I'm actually picking up and getting ready to rock it out? And because of that, he crushed it. Like he absolutely, totally crushed Hell Week. Change the language, change your life. Language is the biggest part of it. Take note of what you're using. Take note of those habitual language patterns. The things that you're saying over and over and over. This is hard. This is difficult. This sucks. If that's the language you're using, that's the life you're going to get. That's the business you're going to get. Change that. Take these 3 things really seriously. Number 1, the breathing, right? Changing that physiology, taking the time to breathe, taking the time to change the physiology. Number 2, be the custodian of all the thoughts in your mind. Clean up all the garbage, make it pretty, make it clean, see what you want. And lastly, be the language transformation master. Really, truly use the language that helps you gain the outcomes that you want. These 3 steps, I guarantee you, both Mick and I guarantee you right now, that when you do this, when you practice this and you do it over and over and over, these will create you the life, the business that you've always desired.
Absolutely. It's absolutely critical. And Jamie has a whole 2-3 hour course just on these 3 steps.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested, we can chuck a link in the comments or whatever after the show, but it is so powerful. You know, this is probably the most impactful thing you can do in your business.
Yeah.
No joke.
It's amazing.
Look, with that said, I know we went a little long, but thank you for sticking with us. It was no doubt it was well worth it. Those last 15 minutes are pure gold.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jamie charges a few $100 for a course on that, and you know, stuff that we teach our paying clients, and we've just given it to you for free. So well worth it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around, and yeah, have an awesome week.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks everyone so much for coming on. Chris, I know you're gone now, but thank you so much for your valuable comments, and everyone who shared comments today. I noticed there was a whole ton of comments. I didn't get to share all of them on the screen, but we saw each and every one of them, and we want to thank everyone for really contributing, for giving those shout outs and all that. We do this show for you, so the more comments we get, the better off it is, and it really strives for us to do more and more and more, and to keep giving and to keep doing it every single week. With that said, thank you all so much. It's been an absolute blast, and we look forward to catching up with you live next Friday/Saturday. Until then, have an outstanding week.
Have an outstanding week, guys. See you next week.